never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another reason to breathe this air.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is a Wednesday, so of course it's time for another weekly Top 10 countdown. I know I said a couple of weeks ago that I might stop doing these Top 10 countdowns because I just wasn't getting any kind of good feedback on them, and it seemed like people were just tuned out by me doing them. But last week's was a request, and this week's is a request, and I've already got a request for next week. So as long as I keep getting feedback like that, I will continue to do them. Before I get into what this week's requested Top 10 countdown is about, don't forget to go to prizepicks.com and enter the keyword Ref Brandon. You can double your deposit right now up to $100 just by entering the keyword Ref Brandon at prizepicks.com. But this week's Top 10 countdown is a request courtesy of my man Eric Adams. He actually requested this, I believe, either last Wednesday or Thursday. It was right after or right before last week's Top 10 countdown was posted, and he wanted me to do Top 10 all-time strongest wrestlers. So, of course, this is something that you can base it on your opinion, but you also have to do some research on it, because a lot of times in the wrestling business, they will portray somebody to be stronger than what they really are. And a lot of times the people that look like they're the strongest, in reality, they're not. Now, some of the names on this list, if I didn't tell you anything at all about them, you would know and you would recognize their name. But some of the names on this list you're not going to recognize, because not only did they wrestle a long time ago, but a lot of these guys didn't wrestle for very long. As a matter of fact, probably half, if not right above half the guys on this list only wrestled for a short period of time. So unless you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you're not going to know who they are. But this top 10 list comes to us courtesy of barbend.com. There's 9 guys on the list and 1 female on the list. Number 10, Becca Swanson, and she is the female on the list. She had a 854-pound squat and a 523-pound bench. Now, number 9 is Braun Strowman, and since he still wrestles and everybody knows his background before wrestling, I'm not going to give you any details on Braun Strowman because We know who he is. We know what he did. Number 8 is a guy by the name of Ettore Ewan. And if you don't know, that is the real name of Big E. Now, a lot of people know that he was involved in a lot of the tough man contest and all that. But he also played football at Iowa when he was in college. So he is a multi sport athlete. 711 pounds in the squat, 529-pound bench, and a 799-pound deadlift. Now, of course, he is currently out with a broken neck, but people that have talked to him say that even with this broken neck, he is extremely positive and he is extremely encouraging. He doesn't let it get him down. He's still hoping for a in-ring return, but there's no word on whether or not he will ever be back, because if you wasn't watching SmackDown the night he broke his neck, it was ugly and it was severe. He's been out for a while now and no talks of a return because they're not sure if he'll be back, and if he is, when he'll be back. Number 6, George Hackenschmidt, a 361-pound power clean and a 330-pound jerk. And those are things that are involved in the World's Strongest Man competition. Before we talk about the top 5, let's recap 10 through 6 real quick. All over again, these are the top 10 all-time strongest wrestlers. Not just WWE, but all time. Number 10, Becca Swanson. Number 9, Braun Strowman. Number 8, Big E. Number 7, Doug Furnas. And number 6, George Hackenschmidt. Number 5, Paul Anderson. He won gold at the 1955 World Weightlifting Competition. That was before the World's Strongest Man competitions. Number 4 is probably the guy on the list that had the longest in-ring wrestling career after all his strongman stuff. That was Ken Patera. 1971 Pan American Games winner. Number 3, Ted Arcidi, and he was the first to ever bench 700 pounds. Number 2, Bill Kazmaier, 3-time World's Strongest Man, and he was the first to bench 661 pounds. And number 1, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, strongest all-time wrestler, according to Barbend.com, Mark Henry. And during the World's Strongest Man competitions, he had an equipped wraps total of 2,336.9 pounds. Now, if you have forgotten about any of these wrestlers or don't know any of these wrestlers, feel free to go to barbend.com. I believe this article came out October of last year, so it's pretty recent, and you can read this article in its entirety, and it will tell you all about each wrestler. I just figured facts about each one is all anybody wants to know, but you can go to barbend.com, and it won't tell you their life story, but it will pretty much tell you anything and everything they did that involved any kind of weightlifting, powerlifting, and it will tell you a little bit about their wrestling career. But I do think that Ken Patera is the guy on the list that probably had the longest in-ring wrestling career. A lot of these came along after their World's Strongest Man days, and they wrestled for 3 or 4 years, and that was it. But Ken Patera was around for a very long time. Again, any thoughts on this, please feel free to letting me know. Don't forget about HFOTUSA.org. That's where you'll find out all about Homes for Our Troops, the publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at HFOTUSA.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. For some reason, this is one of those dad jokes that I can tell this joke numerous times over and over, and it still cracks me up every time. What is the difference between people in Dubai and people in Abu Dhabi? People in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but people in Abu Dhabi do. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.